His name is Vozinha. He is 40 years old, and he just became one of the most beloved athletes on the planet. 3 weeks ago, nobody outside of Cape Verde knew who Vozinha was. He had 50,000 followers on Instagram. He played in Portugal's second division. He had spent 19 years grinding through obscure leagues in Angola, Moldova, Cyprus, and Slovakia, clubs most soccer fans have never heard of, in cities most people could not find on a map. Then came Atlanta. Cape Verde walked onto the field at Atlanta Stadium on June 15th for their very first game in World Cup history. Their opponent, Spain, the reigning European champions, ranked number 2 in the world, a team with Lamine Yamal, Pedri, and Ferran Torres, a team that had demolished every opponent in qualifying, a team that was supposed to win this group without breaking a sweat. Spain attempted 27 shots. Vozinha stopped every single one that mattered. When the final whistle blew at 0-0, Vozinha collapsed to his knees and wept. Not from exhaustion, from something much heavier than that. "I cried because I grew up with my grandparents, and unfortunately they were not here," he said after the game. "They died a few years ago. They were everything for me." Within 24 hours, he went from 50,000 Instagram followers to 14 million. Let's talk about what that number means. 14 million people looked at this man, a 40-year-old goalkeeper who had spent his entire career in football's forgotten corners, and felt something they could not explain. It was not about tactics. It was not about statistics. It was about a human being who refused to stop believing in something most people would have abandoned decades ago. Vozinha started playing professionally at 25. Most players his age are already retired. He made his international debut for Cape Verde in 2012, the same year Spain's Lamine Yamal was born. He kept 7 clean sheets in 10 qualifying matches to help send Cape Verde to their first World Cup in history. And then, in their very first game, he faced the best team in Europe and did not allow a single goal. Now here is what makes this story even bigger than one goalkeeper. Cape Verde is a nation of 525,000 people, an archipelago of islands in the Atlantic Ocean, off the coast of West Africa. They tried 7 times to qualify for the World Cup, 7 attempts, 7 failures. And then, in October of 2025, they finally made it, becoming only the second smallest nation by population ever to play in a World Cup, behind only Curaçao from this same tournament. Their squad is built from the diaspora. Most of these players were born or raised in Europe, in Portugal, the Netherlands, France, to Cape Verdean immigrant parents who carried the culture and the flag with them across the ocean. Midfielder Jamiro Monteiro played for the Philadelphia Union in MLS. American soccer fans already know his name. He is one of the reasons Cape Verde plays with the kind of organization and technical quality that shocks teams who underestimate them. And those teams keep underestimating them. After holding Spain, Cape Verde drew 2-2 with Uruguay. Kevin Pina scored a 30-yard free kick in the 21st minute, the first goal in Cape Verde's World Cup history, a moment so improbable that their bench emptied before the ball even hit the net. Uruguay equalized twice. Cape Verde answered twice. A 2-time world champion could not put them away. Then came the third game, Saudi Arabia. A draw was enough to advance. Cape Verde played the full 90 minutes with the discipline and composure of a team that had already been tested twice against opponents who were supposed to be better. They held 0-0. And when the final whistle blew, the Blue Sharks were in the World Cup knockout round for the first time in the history of their country. Grown men cried on the field. Players called home to islands in the Atlantic where their families were watching on whatever screen they could find in the middle of the night, because the time zones made no concessions for history. Now here is where this story takes the turn that nobody planned for. Cape Verde's reward for this miracle is Lionel Messi and Argentina in the round of 32. The smallest story of this World Cup against its biggest, a nation of 500,000 people against the man who just broke the all-time World Cup scoring record at 38 years old. A 40-year-old goalkeeper who went from football's forgotten leagues to 14 million Instagram followers, now asked to stop the greatest player who has ever lived. No rational analysis gives Cape Verde a chance in that game, but no rational analysis gave them a chance against Spain either. This is why the 2026 World Cup, happening right here in American stadiums, in American cities, is already producing the kind of moments that stay with people forever. Because sport does not ask for permission before it creates the impossible. It just does it. And then the world watches, and the world feels something it cannot put into words, and the world hits follow on a 40-year-old goalkeeper from Mindelo, who spent 19 years waiting for a moment exactly like this one. Vozinha said it himself after that first game against Spain. "I thought about leaving, but I continued because of this dream." He continued, and now the dream continues with him. Had you ever heard of Cape Verde before this World Cup? And what does it mean to you that a country of 500,000 people is still standing when giants like Uruguay are already on their way home? And when Cabo Verde faces Argentina and Messi in the round of 32, do you think Vozinha can pull off another miracle? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching the World Game, and I'll see you in the next story.